What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video on the channel. Today we're going to be talking about Sean O'Malley versus Merab 2, which I think is going to be happening in March at UFC 313. Now, how have I come to this conclusion? Well, first off, Sean is going to be out for a while. He's getting surgery, but he is targeting a fight in either March or April. So this would put us at the timeline about 313. Like I said yesterday in the video that I put out, if you haven't watched that yet, I'll link that somewhere up here in the top right corner, maybe top right. UFC 312 is going to be in Sydney, Australia. I made a card for that. I think that's going to be Strickland versus Duplessis 2. Now, why do I think this is going to be the next fight that's happening? Let's see. So Sean O'Malley is going to be coming back, right? Realistically, who are the opponents that he would be fighting right now? It has to be a top contender, and it has to be a guy that would get him back into the title picture because, honestly, the UFC would want him to be a champion. We saw how good he was as a champion. He was able to bring a lot of eyes, a lot of people, big fans of this guy, me included. So whether you guys like him or not, he was a good champion. It felt like he was a champion longer than he was. I remember him winning the championship, and he only really held it for, a year, and then lost it. But he did have a good defense against Chito Vera, but obviously losing to Merab. And ever since that fight, it has been a little weird because watching that fight live, it seemed like it was a domination from Merab. But then you go back, and some people are convinced that O'Malley won this fight. I still think Merab probably won this fight, but it was way closer than it seemed when I was watching the fight live. And I think a lot of people going back and watching it also have thought the same thing. Do I think that he deserves the next title shot because of him being a former champion? No, not necessarily. I think he should have to fight someone, but if they're going to give him the title shot, I'm not going to complain about this. Now, why do I think this is going to happen? I think this is the main reason, right? We've heard a lot about Umar versus Song Yadong, and it looks like it's either going to be happening in December of this year or January. If it happens January, then O'Malley versus Merab in March is almost guaranteed, because at that point, there's no way that Umar is going to come back and fight during March. I believe, isn't Ramadan in March? Yeah, it's in March through April, so I don't think he's going to be fighting then. As we usually don't see a lot, I don't think we've seen Islam fight during that time period either. I just think that he would avoid fighting during that time period, and there's nothing wrong with that, obviously. But if this is going to happen in March, realistically, who else would Merab fight? And I think this is a big money fight for the UFC, and I think a lot of people would want to see it. I think Sean would come out being a lot more aggressive this time, and I don't think he would make the same mistakes as he does last time, and I do think he could come out and beat Merab and restore the UFC timeline that we have been waiting to see, as we've got some not amazing champions recently. I know a lot of people were very upset about Merab winning the belt. I was one of them. Always backing the boy Sean, but I think Sean can come out this time and win the championship again from Merab. But that begs the question, what would happen during this fight? Let's say Umar wins in January. Then I do think he will obviously get the next title shot. I thought he was going to get the next title shot, but it just seems like now there's a lot of fingers pointing towards Sean O'Malley versus Merab next. All this obviously is speculation, but it just seems like that's what's going to happen, especially if this is confirmed in February. Like, if this is on 3/11, I think it's almost guaranteed that it's Sean versus Merab, because there's no way he's going to be coming back. Let's say, depending on when this is, I thought it was going to be a fight night main event, but if they are going to put it on a pay-per-view, then that makes it a little more interesting, because if it is a fight night main event, then let's say that goes 5 rounds. I don't think the winner of this would be coming back in just 2 months to fight for the championship. But if it is only 3 rounds, then that makes it a little bit more interesting. As we can see here, Faber shut down rumblings of a December fight and thinks the fight would probably take place January 18th. So it seems like it's almost settled at this point that this is going to happen. I think that Umar is still the number one contender, but I understand what they're doing with Sean here. If he loses that fight against Merab, then I don't really know what's going to happen at that point. He will obviously still be in contendership, but then, you got to fight your way back up. Are they going to give him Are they going to give him back-to-back championship fights? Like, it's going to take a while for him to work his way back up. Obviously, Peter Yan and Corey Sandhagen are still there as well, trying to get a championship fight. Figueiredo, all three of those guys, it looks like are going to have to take a back seat now, because let's say Sean wins, then you're waiting, whoever wins that fight between Umar and Song Yadong, which I think as of right now, I would be very surprised if Umar doesn't win. If Song Yadong comes out and wins this fight, that completely shakes up the whole entire rankings overall. Who knows? Maybe they give him a fight in March instead of Sean. But let's say Umar wins, then the winner of Sean O'Malley versus Merab will go against Umar later in the year. And then the rest of these guys in the top 5 just kind of have to fight each other again, fight someone. They'll kind of be sitting around waiting, and some of these guys have been waiting for another title opportunity for a while. But that's how it goes at this point. What do you guys think? Do you guys think that Sean should get the next title opportunity? I think it's pretty much written in the stars, in the sand, whatever you want to say right now. I think it's going to happen, especially if this happens in January. I don't see Umar coming back in 2 months, fighting during Ramadan, whenever 313 is scheduled during March, or even if it gets pushed to April. I still don't think he would come back then. So let me know down below what you guys think. Do you think Sean should get the next title opportunity, or do you think it should be Umar? I'll see you guys in the next one.